Hello YouTube, Dylan the Shadal Duelist here, back after quite a long hiatus. I really apologize for that, guys. It's been a crazy few months, but with isolation and quarantine being the new norm now, I figured now would be a better time than any to get back into uploading and give you guys some quality Yu-Gi-Oh content. And today, I have a very special treat for you guys. I am bringing you Merfae replays. Yeah, the adorable little archetype that's coming out that is terrible. I'm sorry, it is... Okay, I'm not gonna lie. Merfae are not a good archetype. I would be lying to you if I said that. However, if you catch your opponent off guard, then you can actually win. Like, this deck does actually have some interesting plays to it. So, we're going to start off first against Cyber Dragons here. Now, this is going to be one of your major play starters, is Rescue Cat. Rescue Cat gets any of your Merfae monsters out of your deck for free and lets you get into some really nice plays. Rescue Cat is one of your best starters. So, we're going to activate Rescue Cat. We're going to summon Merfae Puppy and Valor Fawn, Mystical Beast of the Forest. I did consider trying some synchro plays in this deck. Unfortunately, that didn't work out. So we actually go for a Link 2 summon into Bujinki Ahashima. Now, this card is amazing for this deck, and if you don't know what it does, it's a Link 2. It requires 2 monsters with the same level, which is fantastic for this deck. It can't be used as Link material, and you can only use each of its effect once per turn. If it's Link summoned, you can special summon 2 monsters with the same level, 1 from your hand and 1 from your graveyard, negate their effects, but then Exceed summon with them pointing to an arrow pointing to a space this card points to immediately after. And then if one of your Xyz monsters activates their effect by detaching a material and it's pointing to it, then, or if any Xyz monster does, then you get to pop a spell and trap card your opponent controls. So it's really nice. So what we're going to do is we're going to use its effect. We're going to bring Valor Fawn back, and we are going to summon the Merfae, I believe it was Fenny, and then we are going to Exceed summon Merfaes of the Forest. And then we're going to use that effect to search out another, we're going to search out a Merfae Cathy. Now, if you guys aren't too familiar with what Merfae do, they special summon themselves at the end phase of each turn. So basically, they are really good at building field presence, which is actually really nice because they don't do much else. So my opponent's going to summon Cyber Dragon Hertz, and we are going to bounce our Merfae Cathy back to in order to get a search, because basically what Merfae do is when they're attacked or when a monster is special summoned, they can bounce themselves back to your hand and then get a search off, a summon off. Each one does something different. Cathy's one of the best because it's basically your Rhoda for the deck, but it doesn't just search out a Merfae monster, it searches out any beast monster in your deck, which is actually really powerful because you can search stuff like the Nimble monsters and another copy of Rescue Cat. So it's actually, Merfae Cathy is actually probably one of the best, if not the best Merfae monster, at least for the main deck. Now, I do believe that Hashima is a bit bugged here because when Merfae of the Forest activates, what happens is if a Merfae monster is bounced back to your hand, you can negate a monster's effect on the field, and it can't attack. So that's actually a really nice effect. However, Ahashima should not have activated there. It should not have been able to pop because Merfaes of the Forest did not detach an Exceed material for that. So I am going to ask the Cybernetic Overflow. Probably should have let it just go through. Probably shouldn't have even activated Ahashima, but I didn't realize that until after the fact. So he is going to get Cyber Dragon on the field, and we are going to bounce Puppy to get Fenny onto the field. Fenny's going to activate its effect to bring back out another Cathy. He is going to link away our Ahashima with Mega Fleet Dragon and then get rid of our Merfaes of the Forest, which isn't too big of an issue. I am going to activate Pot of Avarice here. I am only running the 1 even though it is at 3 now. I'm going to recycle so many nice cards. Get the Rescue Cat. Going to summon up 2 more monsters, and we're going to summon basically what is a staple in any beast type deck that runs level 2 monsters, and that's obviously Ronin Raccoon. We're going to summon the token, and I probably should have gone. Actually, no. I'll go back to what I was thinking after. But basically, we're going to destroy the Mega Fleet Dragon with the token and just hit for 1,000 damage, and then get Puppy and Fenny on the field. Like you can see, this deck actually does a really good job of just maintaining and creating field presence and hand advantage. The only issue with this deck is it's incredibly weak. The Merfae monsters by themselves, they can't really do much. Your win condition is Merfae Mammy, basically, and I don't know if you guys saw what I did there. I linked into Cross Sheep and then used Merfae Tag, which is basically a quick play monster reborn for the deck. And Mammy can add beast monsters from your hand or field and attach it as Xyz material. Now, why would you want to do that? Merfae Mammy has a few effects. If it has 3 or more Xyz material, she can't be destroyed by battle. Okay. 4 or more, you take no battle damage from attacks involving her. Okay, not too bad. When she has 5 or more material, though, this is where she becomes your win condition. When an attack is involved, when an attack is declared involving Merfae Mammy, she actually inflicts damage to your opponent equal to your opponent's monster's attack. So, for example, let's say I had Merfae Mammy on the field with 5 material, and my opponent had Mega Fleet. I attack Mega Fleet with Mammy, he loses 3,600 attack, and because I have 3 and 4 material, she's not destroyed by battle, and I take no damage. So she is quite literally this deck's win condition, with 5 materials, which is not hard to do, but we'll go back to that later. So we are going to add another material onto Mammy. We're going to run over the Galaxy Soldier, get an okay boost, attack, and then summon back Puppy and Kathy onto the field. He is going to try to activate the Nashter. We are going to add another material to Kathy, and then as you can see, a lot is happening. We're going to impermanence the Nashter, we're going to bounce our monsters back to get some more advantage, and Nashter is going to get negated. I don't know why Cross Sheep. Cross Sheep, I think, is actually acting a bit bugged on the on Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. We're going to summon the Nimble Beaver, get another Nimble Beaver, get out our Ronin Raccoon, and then we are going to summon Asa the Earth Charmer. It's whatever, we get the token out, and we just win. So, even against something like Cyber Dragons, the thing is, the deck needs a lot of support outside its own archetype. You need hand traps, you need things like Imperm, which I know is technically a hand trap, but when I say hand traps, I mean things like Ash. So we're going to go over here. We're facing an interesting insect deck here. This one I actually struggled a bit with because I get the... Okay, so this card right here, Obedient Schooled, probably the only reason you would ever want to run Merfae. 3 free monsters on the field really helps you out. Unfortunately, it does lock you out of some of your link plays, such as going into Nightmare Cerberus, or your best one, Bujiki Ahashima. But, however, it's still definitely, if you're not running Obedient School at 3 in Merfae, you're playing Merfae wrong. So we are going to get, right off the bat, 4 material. Mammy, we would have had 5 if it wasn't for the effect failure, but that's fine. We are going to get Puppy and Kathy onto our field with a set impermanence. Now, unfortunately, Mammy is just going to get Kaiju'd, but that's fine because we are going to activate Kathy and Puppy, giving us our Rescue Cat and getting a pony on the field. He is going to... And don't get me wrong, he actually had some really good plays here. like, Resonance Insect is actually fantastic. So we are going to Imperm to allow him to stop him from getting the Monster Reborn off. He is going to destroy our monster with Nightmare Cerberus. He gets Doomdozer on the field with Goki Pole, and so he gets Shiny Black Sea Squatter, and then ends off with the Seraphim Papillon. He is going to make me mill an Infinite Impermanence, which is unfortunate. We are, however, going to be able to get Rescue Cat off, thankfully, so we are able to start to build our plays. I love going into Ahashima off of Rescue Cat. It's fantastic. So we are going to get Merfae of the Forest on. We're going to add one of the traps, which is called Merfae Time, and so basically, you detach as many Xyz material from a Beast Xyz monster you control, and that monster will gain 500 attack for all Beast Xyz monsters will gain 500 attack for each Xyz material removed, and you can bounce that same number of monsters based on the Xyz materials. So it's a pretty okay card, works really well with Mommy. I haven't pulled that off yet, but that's because you want Mommy to have as many Xyz materials as possible. So we are going to attack the Goki Pole. He is going to get Big Insect off of that and destroy Ahashima, but that's fine because Ahashima fulfilled its role, and you can't link with it. So we are going to get our 3 Merfaes back on the field, which is fantastic because because of having Force on the field. Now, he is going to try to activate Insector Picofalina, and we are going to activate Kathy, Puppy, and Time to bounce the Insector back, and then guys, look at this advantage we're getting here. We have now Nimble Beaver, just look at our hand now, plus also we were able to negate the Doomdozer and stop it from attacking, and this is basically how I win this, is we're going to go into Mommy from here using Nimble Beaver, so that is 4 material Mommy right there, plus now 5, so we just inflicted 3,300 points of damage for free, basically, and we still have Merfaes of the Forest on the field with a Kathy and a Puppy. So he is going to go into Needle Fiber here. We are going to use we're going to use Kathy to add another Rescue Cat. We are going to negate the Battle Wasp with Merfaes of the Forest. He does get another Doomdozer on the field, but there's really not much he can do. I don't think he quite fully understood what Mammy does, because he summons the Boral Sword and he attacks into Mammy, switches it to defense position, but that doesn't matter because as long as the opponent's monster is in attack position, we get the damage. So he's going to lose the 3,000 points of damage from Boral Sword. He's going to attack into Merfae of the Forest. I am going to use Mammy to attack Merfae so it's not destroyed. He attacks again into Mammy, that does nothing, and then he attacks into Mammy with Doomdozer, and Mammy is not a once per turn, I don't think. No. So, you can inflict as much damage as you want on your opponent as long as they keep attacking you. So, which is, he basically attacked himself to death. Again, I don't think he realized how Mammy works, but this card is your only win condition, or is your biggest win condition. 90% of your games, if you win, it is because you summon Merfae Mammy. So our last duel is going to be versus Shaddoll's, which are amazingly meta, again, I believe. I'm super excited about how much Shaddoll's have blown up, basically. So we are going to go for the Rescue Cat play because it is one of your best starting plays. We're going to go for the Ahashima, and then obviously from Ahashima, we're going to summon Pony and Kathy, I believe it was, to get Merfaes of the Forest out. We're going to activate one of their continuous spell card, Merfae Hide and Seek, which basically just protects your Merfae monsters once from being destroyed by card effect, which again pairs really well with Mammy. And then you can, it kind of becomes a mini pot of, not desires, so many, it becomes, basically you can shuffle 3 beast monsters into your graveyard with different names into your deck to draw a card. And then we're going to set the Infinite Impermanence and the Merfae Time and we are going to activate Merfae of the Forest effect to get the Cathy to hand. We're going to special summon the Cathy, and that's our first turn. He is going to summon Shaddoll Fusion, activate Shaddoll Fusion here, get the construct off. He is going to attempt to use Wendy. I am going to activate both Cathy and Merfae time to try and disrupt him a bit. However, he is going to go for the Super Poly, which does ruin my day, unfortunately. He is going to link away the Ahashima to get another construct onto the field. He is going to summon the Aerial off of Wendy, and then obviously he's basically trying to go for the Avermax combo, it seems. I am going to be able to negate Construct's effect, though, with Merfae of the Forest. He is going to summon the Cross Sheep, and he's going to flip up Aerial. Luckily, I did have the Impermanence face down, so he's not going to get the Aerial off. Which is fantastic, and he unfortunately activates Foolish Burial in the same column as Infinite Impermanence. You really got to be careful, guys, where you're activating your spell cards if you think your opponent has an Impermanence, or if they just have a set spell and trap card, because Impermanence is dangerous, and as we can see here, he just scoops because there was really not much else he could do. He had the Invocation, so he was clearly running the Invoked variant, but there wasn't much he could do there. While I had Rescue Cat, so I could have easily gone for Mammy plays. So as you can see, I'm not saying Merfaes are good by any stretch of the imagination, because they are not. However, played correctly, with the right combination of cards, they can catch people off guard. So onto the deck list, we have 3 Merfae Puppy. This is one of the best cards in the deck. You can special summon a level 2 or lower beast monster from your deck when it bounces back to the hand due to either monster being summoned or an attack being declared. Probably the second best card in the deck, I would say. Being able to bring out more monsters from your deck to potentially get more advantage off of it is really nice. Cathy, like I said, is the best card in the main deck. Being able to search any beast monster in your deck is fantastic. It would be different if it was any Merfae monster or any level 2 beast monster. But no, it's one beast monster from your deck to your hand. So I can see a lot of people experimenting with this. I could actually see Cathy being splashed into other beast-focused decks just because of that effect. 2 Pony, because it's basically a warrior returning alive for the deck. Any more than 2, I feel like wouldn't work. Same with Merfae Fenny. Special summons from the hand, which typically isn't as good from special summoning from the deck, so I think running 2 Fenny is a pretty good ratio there. 2 Valor Fawn, Mystical Beast of the Forest. This card allows you to recur your monsters from the graveyard. Not a bad card. Again, it being a tuner made me want to potentially experiment with synchro plays, but there just aren't enough good beast-type synchro monsters that work well with level 2 monsters. Nimble Beaver is another great card. It's level 2. Special summons another copy of itself when normal summons, so it allows you to go into your Xyz plays. Rescue Cat is probably your best starter aside from Obedient Schooled. Getting this on the field and getting it off gets you an Ahashima, which then nets you a Mammy or a Merfae of the Forest, so definitely run 3 Rescue Cat. 3 Ash Blossom and Joy Spring. If you wanted to cut the Nimble Beavers or wanted to cut the Valor Fawn for more hand traps, you could totally do that. 3 Ash Blossom, I think, is just super important with how much searching decks do. Onto the spells and traps. Merfae Hide and Seek is your continuous spell. That is the one. Pot of Avarice. That is the card I was looking for. It's basically a mini Pot of Avarice while giving the deck some destruction protection. Merfae Tag is the quick play Monster Reborn of the deck. I'm running 2 of it because 3, if you open up multiples of this, it really doesn't do much for you. Obedient Schooled, again, as I said before, if you're not running 3 of this card, you are running Merfae wrong. This card is a great starter. If you open Obedient School and a Rescue Cat or a Nimble Beaver, that is a 5 material mammy right there, so that's super important. 1 Monster Reborn, 2 Desires, 1 Avarice, 2 Merfae Time. I'm thinking of bumping this up to 3 because it's just actually a really solid card. Being able to detach materials off of your Xyz monsters, which in terms of at least for Merfaes of the Forest, isn't super important. The ability to search is great, but the ability to negate your opponent's monsters' effects and stop them from attacking, you don't need material for. So being able to return monsters to the hand or extra deck and getting attack boost for the turn is nice. I'm thinking of bumping this up to 3. I'm experimenting with this Beast Soul Swap in tandem with Merfae of the Forest. Target 1 beast monster you control, return it to the hand, and if you do, special summon 1 beast monster from your hand with the same level as that monster that was returned to the hand. So, the thought process behind running Beast Soul Swap is if you have Merfaes of the Forest on the field and you have a Merfae monster that you've maybe already used its effect for, you can bounce it back, get Merfaes of the Forest off, and then get another Merfae on the field. I'm thinking of cutting it down to 1 or just completely cutting it out for a 3rd copy of Merfae Time, and the 3 Infinite Impermanence because, again, you're not doing much in this deck without outside support. The deck itself, the Merfaes themselves are incredibly weak. They have nice effects that keep field presence, yes, and Merfaes of the Forest, the effect negation is nice, and Mammy is an amazing win condition card, but without outside support, you're never getting to 5 material Mammy, and that is why cards like Impermanence are so important. Speaking of which, let's look on to the extra deck monsters. 3 Merfaes of the Forest. It's a great starting off card. Allows you to search any Merfae card in your deck, and then also, again, effect negation and stopping cards from attacking. Really nice. Mammy is your win condition. If you win a duel, it is because you have Mammy out on the field. 2 Ronin Raccoon. Again, it's a staple for any level 2 beast-oriented deck. The token creation is really nice, being able to just get a powerful token on the field, and then also having Ronin Raccoon being protected as long as you have beast monsters on the field, which, let's face it, you will always have beast monsters on the field with this deck. So, 2 Ronin Raccoon, very nice. I tried running a Mannequin Cat. It's a beast, it's level 2, so it doesn't conflict with anything. I've just never had the need to summon it, so may take it out, not sure. Onto the links, 1 cross sheet, because having your opponent's monsters lose 700 attack is really nice. Mrs. Radiant, most of the monsters are earth types, so the boost is nice, and so is the recursion. 1 Nightmare Cerberus for removal. Also the Earth Charmer, immovable. Again, it's an earth-based deck. You're going to want to run this, and then the 2 Bujinki Ahashima. This card is amazing. This is probably what you're going to be making off of Nimble Beaver or Rescue Cat, and then following up into Merfaes of the Forest or Merfae Mammy. Probably not Mammy because you'll never be able to trigger Ahashima off of her, so you're probably going to go into Forest, Merfaes of the Forest, since you can do that. So there we go, guys. That is my Merfae deck I built for fun. It's honestly, I didn't expect to win a single duel with these cards. So the fact that I won against Cyber Dragons, which again, that one was a little iffy due to I think Ahashima being a little bit bugged, but even with Invoke Shaddoll, that honestly opened up fairly okay as well. So there we go. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have your own Merfae decks you would like to share with me, I would love to see them. And, you know, guys, if you're testing out Merfae as well, tell me what you think of the deck. Or even if you're not, tell me how do you think Merfae are going to fare. Do you think cards like Nimbles and Rescue Cat and Obedient School, do they make the deck worth running? So do you guys think Merfae will ever have any competitive success at all? Personally, I don't think so. I just think the deck doesn't have enough. If it gets some new support cards in the future, then by all means, let's with Mammy, like if they can get more protection, because Merfae Hide and Seek is great, being able to protect Mammy from being destroyed by card effects, but I don't think the deck has enough right now. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, please be sure to like and subscribe so you never miss more quality Yu-Gi-Oh content. Until next time, guys, this is Dylan the Shaddoll Duelist, signing out.